for the ladies and don't know where to go. Need that R&B fix and excitement. I'm gonna show ya. You gotta look past all the distractions. They ain't where it's at. They got all your entertainment. It's an R&B world. They got what it takes to serve it all. Female R&B. Keep your front page on. You can't miss this. Make sure you tune in. You won't be alone. You got some new friends. And they are female R&B. Female R&B by Eddie.
Hello, Natanya.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm good, and you?
Yes, feeling amazing now I've met you.
Welcome to FemaleRNB.
Yes, thank you very much, Female R&B, and welcome to Paris.
Yes. You like Paris?
I love Paris.
Yeah?
Are you happy to be in Paris?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oui. Yeah, exactly.
Or where?
First of all,
Yes.
who is Natanya?
Wow, that is such a crazy question. Who is Natanya? Natanya is honestly a girl from Wembley who really loved music and piano and production and is just a little bit of a nerd and found her way into this crazy career of performing and sharing that music with people. That's Natanya.
Good description,
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
Yes, that's pretty much it. It's very simple.
Yeah. What made you want to take music seriously? Was there a specific moment?
When Angel came out, like one of the first singles from Saw at Sunrise, I saw how many people were touched by it, and I thought that maybe the music had the power to move someone other than me, because before it was just for my enjoyment, but I could see how much of an impact it was creating.
And yet you feel like an angel. So and yet you feel like an angel.
And then I think the second time was definitely last year when everything happened with the tour and all that stuff. I really had to make a decision for myself on whether or not I wanted it, because my uni was finishing and people were making serious choices about where they were going to go next in life, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, where is that for me? And I realized that I love music, you know?
Okay, interesting. Which artists or albums shaped you growing up?
So I found two very pivotal albums. I had a Deezer trial when I was 14 years old, and I got the chance to download two albums of my choosing. I found Frank and I found Cherry Bomb, and they were both so pivotal to the way that I write music and produce to this day. Then also, I would probably say Thriller. You know, my dad grew up playing a lot of Michael Jackson in the house, so I was just always influenced by everything on his discography from the beginning till the end, you know?
Okay, Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I love
Period.
it. Yeah, punkt.
Yes. What do you love doing typically in the life, in your journey?
Yes.
You have passion, you have...
I love books and I've always loved reading. I love journaling.
Okay.
I keep a journal. I've kept one since I was about 11 years old. And I think it's just a lot of movie watching. Like, I just love consuming like the artifices of people's brains. That's very important to me. And just exploring thought. I always have a question in my mind that I want to answer, and I just love fun facts, you know? Anyone that meets me, I'll tell them something really silly and fun about the world that they haven't, you know, learnt before within minutes of, you know, talking to them. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Your first EP, Sorrow at Sunrise,
yes.
was about your first test of independence. With the Feline's return, it feels like you went deeper. How is this project different, and what emotions were you exploring this time?
So, Saw at Sunrise was more of like, you know, something that I fell into. You know, I just always wrote songs since I was 15. And that was just a combination of things I was just jotting down in my book. But Feline's return was intentional. Like, I decided to go out there and make a project. I decided to go out there and write songs with that sort of like addictive quality. And it was a real like kind of grip moment where I was coming back from a time when I didn't have much confidence in myself or feel like I was that good at music. So I think to me, it means a lot. Plus, production-wise, I was at the forefront and the helm of everything that was happening in the studio. I was the executive producer, where in Saw at Sunrise I wasn't, you know? So it was very important to me as a project to kind of put my stamp on music and my take on, like, you know, pop, you know? I think it's important to me.
Okay. And how will you describe the main differences between Act 1 and Act 2 of your EP?
Right, so Act 2, I've been saying this on live to my fans as well, but it's more self-assured. You know,
Yeah.
I think Act 1 was very, very insecure, and it was kind of like a kid like screaming for attention. And that's not a bad thing because it got what I wanted it to do. But all the songs are written in a way that kind of just, you know, insists upon themselves. Act 2 is more inviting. It doesn't
Yes.
force you to listen. It's very chill. You know, and it's just kind of like, I'm here and this is my life, rather than like, this is who I want to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Was there a track on Act 2 that was harder to finish or means the most to you?
Jezebel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your first single of this new EP.
Right? I chose it as the first single for a reason because it just, you know, stood out so much compared to the other songs. But it was difficult to finish because no one actually believed in the song. I was the only one who saw that it could be something really great, and it was kind of left to the wayside, you know, quite a lot. But I fought for it because there was so much of my story locked in there, my emotions were locked in there, and I was like, this needs to kind of come out. So it took a long time to finish that song.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love this song.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Your music has caught the attention of artists like Doechii, like recently Doechii.
Yeah, very recently.
Yeah, on Instagram Live.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
surprisingly as well, actually. I was
Really?
like, what?
Ravyn Lenae
Yes,
too, and PinkPantheress.
yes.
How does that make you feel?
It's a really interesting feeling because it's a, you know, they're very successful and I look up to them all. So it's incredible when people that you look up to notice the work that you're doing, because it kind of feels prophetic in a way. You know, it's like they're looking at you saying, I see you one day achieving what I have. But I said this, you know, in the past, it is also a lot of pressure because, you know, when someone at that level notices what you're doing, you can only keep going forwards. You can't, you know, falter and go backwards. You have to write better music. You have to try better things in your production. You can only get better. So I really feel this, you know, weight on my shoulders to try and, you know, top what I've done very, you know, early. I think it's only been about 3 months or 4 months since Act 1 came out, but I'm like, how can I make a good album, you know? Like, that's really high on my list. Really, really high.
But there are a reason. Your music already has a strong and unique identity.
Thank you. Yes.
How important is it for you to protect and express that identity, both in your sound and in your visual, like fashion?
I think it's the utmost importance because, you know, we live in a world where it's very easy to misunderstand people.
Yeah.
And I've grown up a lot of my life, you know, people misunderstanding me and like, you know, not really getting the message. Even in my music career, you know, it takes a lot to make people finally get like, this girl's going to be big, or, you know, this girl's talented. You have to do so many things and kind of run circles to make people get it. Or even just, you know, working in a room to get people that you're working with to respect you. So branding is important to me because it is like food to my army of fans who love me. And, you know, if I continue to like put my foot down and, you know, be exactly who I am, they protect me from so many things that, you know, get thrown at you when you do this job. And they continue to shout my name out when no one else is. So it's the most important thing to me, absolutely on top, keeping my identity and making sure that the vision is strong all the way through. I never want to do something random. I always want to do something that I believe in.
As a producer, a female producer, how do you balance writing, producing, and performing your own music?
I think it just, it happens all in one, you know, because when I think of songs, I'm already imagining how they're going to sound when I'm finished with them. There are only a few times when like I'll write something on the piano and I just don't really know like where I'm going to take it. But for me, my joy is like finishing a song, because it's like knitting a scarf or like knitting a jumper. Like you can actually live in it when you're done. And I make music so that I can listen to it and enjoy it. It's just the coolest thing. And I love knitting as well. Like just anything that you can kind of create for yourself to have in your pocket, like a song is like that to me. So I don't see it as a balance. It just is a process that kind of like envelops itself upon itself. It just works like that.
Yeah, you mix R&B with pop, jazz, and even rock. Do you want to keep exploring this hybrid sound, or?
Yeah, I mean, like to me, my take on everything is just that I'm trying to, you know, re-explain to people what pop means, because that is pop at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And some of my favorite musicians were pop artists that kind of like, you know, were rooted in other genres. Like Amy is a pop artist, but you know, her roots are elsewhere. And like Michael is a pop artist, but his roots were elsewhere. And I feel the same for Tyler, the Creator, or Ravyn Lenae, you know, or like Kali Uchis. Like their roots are all elsewhere, but like they make pop music, but it's like cool pop music. So that's what I want to do. And you only do that by using all the music that you've ever listened to in your life and putting it all together for people and repackaging it so that they can like learn something new from your library of songs. So I always intend to keep using whatever I hear and putting it there. Movie Stars from a classical piece, you know, it's from Chopin. It became, you know, like a kind of like R&B pop song, and I love that. That's more of what we need to see in music, you know?
Yeah. Okay. And what inspires you most when you create?
Anything. I think just time alone and time to myself. I can't like really write songs when I'm like moving all the time. I really need just like a couple of days like alone. Like I always have like things going through my mind, like thoughts or like melodies, and it's kind of like a tick. So that's really what inspires me. And I love just watching movies again. Like I really get wrapped up in worlds and like books and stuff like that. Whenever I'm like, you know, stuck reading a book or like watching a film, I just feel like I'm in that world for a bit, and then the song starts sounding like it. So anything around me, to be honest, you know?
Yeah, okay. Which artists have influenced you the most, and who inspires you today?
I would say Amy is my biggest influence.
Amy Winehouse,
Very, very big influence. I think she's just like one of the smartest musicians that the industry ever had. And she's a very big boss lady, like a female writer, like a poet. And I know she was a journaler as well. I look up to Michael for his performance. He was one of the best performers that we've ever seen, ever. And that's the standard that I hold myself to. Well, that's who I look up to. That's the standard I put myself up to.
Yeah, okay. How do you see the R&B scene right now?
I'm a fan of so many people, but I think everyone could be a little bit more creative, you know? But I'm a fan of everything that comes out. I'm just waiting for some music to kind of like hit the road. Like the stuff that I heard when I was 14 and before that made me like fall in love with music, that made me fall in love with writing. I want to see people like try and inspire people again, you know, and not just try and like save their necks, you know.
Are there any female artists you love to collaborate with?
Yeah, I think it'd be really nice to work with Ravyn Lenae.
Yeah.
I would love, you know, PinkPantheress to work on something of mine. That would be really, really great. I'm trying to think. I am in love with Kali Uchis and obviously Tyler. I'd love Tyler to, you know, just mentor me, to be honest. Like as a producer, he's incredible. But, you know, honestly, I think, Steve Lacy as well. But the journey takes you everywhere you need to go, and like I'm probably going to meet some really cool people in the future that I don't have on this list. Yeah. And they're going to teach me so much about music, so I'm really excited for that moment.
What's next for you after Feline returns to?
Writing an album. That's next.
Yeah. Finally.
Next. Yeah, finally. Writing an album and just learning more about music. Maybe my own headline tour, you know, hopefully, and just seeing what else the journey brings. I love this job, so I'm not leaving.
And the last question of this beautiful interview.
Absolutely.
At FemaleRNB, we have a little ritual to end each interview. I name a few female R&B artists, and I love to hear the first thing that comes to mind. Maybe, yeah, Amy Winehouse.
Oh, Amy Winehouse.
Yes.
Whew, like witty.
Hmm.
Witty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Janet Jackson.
Oh my goodness. Rude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beyoncé.
Fierce.
Yeah. Mereba.
Oh my goodness. Warmth.
Oh.
Warmth is a good word for her.
Laila.
Laila,
Yeah.
spunky and cute.
Yeah. Mahalia.
Mahalia.
Yes.
I would say relatable.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Ethereal.
Yeah. Yeah, really. Maybe Doechii.
Okay, Doechii, I would say a mixture between fierce and witty.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I love
Those
that.
are the first things that come to mind for me.
Thank you so much, Natanya.
Thank you so much, Heidi.